Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea Show here on this beautiful Sunday. Got some NFL football going on. Go Pats. Yes, I'm a Patriots fan anyway. My name is John Campea. I will be your host today, and this is a show where we talk about all of our favorite things in the world of movies and television and all types of crap like that. And this is how today's show is going to go. I've got a couple of items in the world of movies that I'm going to discuss here, and then I'm going to go to the not live chat where that's later. I'm going to go to the email questions that you guys have sent in to me. The main part of the show every day is the topics that you guys send in to me. Now, how do you get a question or a topic on the John Campea Show? It's simple. Just email me anytime at John at the John Camp. I'm already tongue-tied today. John at the JohnCampeaShow.com. Once again, that's John at the JohnCampeaShow.com. Send on in your questions and topics there, and make sure, this is important, guys, put the word topic in the subject line. If you don't put the word topic in the subject line, I'm not going to see your email. Now, also very important, make sure you keep your email to 90 words or less. I don't have time to read novels. Plus, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to fit any longer emails on the screen in the first place. Now, after I'm done with the email topics that you guys sent in to me, I'm going to go to the live chat because you guys, or a whole bunch of you guys, are here watching live already. And if you're watching live, this is how you get a live question on. Near the end of the show, don't send them in yet, but near the end of the show, simply tweet to me at John Campea. So just start your tweet with at John Campea and then type in the rest of your question. And hey guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter at John Campea as well. I'm pretty active on Twitter there. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get started. I've been excited about this. Last night, because I've already seen the movie and I really enjoyed it, I had the privilege of being at Screamfest, the annual horror film festival. And I got to host and moderate the Q&A for the film 1922, which is going to be a Netflix original. It opens on Netflix on October 20th. And I got to go last night, and I'm thrilled because I do a lot of Q&As, but I don't always get to do Q&As for movies I really, really love. And I really, really love this new adaptation, 1922. It's directed by a guy named Zach Hilbrich, I believe his last name is, at any rate, and it stars Thomas Jane. And if you've seen the trailers for 1922, it's a horror thriller where Thomas Jane plays this farmer, Wilfred, back in, obviously, 1922, and his wife wants to sell their land and move to the city. When he refuses, she suggests that she's going to sell the land anyway and move to the city and take their son with her. Now, he enlists the help of his son, and they decide, well, you know what? We don't want that to happen, so we're going to murder mom. And they murder mom, and then, of course, the story doesn't end there. Things start to get creepy after that. Anyway, my thoughts on 1922. I've been waiting to share it with you, but I've been wanting to get Screamfest in our rearview mirror. This movie's great. It's based on a Stephen King. This has been a pretty busy year for Stephen King adaptations. It's based on the Stephen King short story. And I'll tell you this right now. I believe it is the best performance we've ever had from Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane is so good in this role. He's so fantastic in it. I've never seen him better. Now, granted, Thomas Jane has not had an Academy-worthy career. I mean, we love him in certain things, like whether it's Punisher or whether it's Hung or whether, he's got a show on right now as well. But I mean, this was an actor's acting performance, and he was just incredible. Totally sold me on it. It is creepy as hell. But the brilliance, I think, of 1922 is not the horror aspect of it. The brilliance of it is that it's really not about the horror. It's about guilt and how guilt can tear you apart and destroy you. Not just you, but the people around you as well. It's such a smart movie. It's so well done. Molly Parker, you guys will remember her from Deadwood and from House of Cards. She plays his wife in it, and she's fantastic. This kid that I've never seen before, his name's Dylan Schmid. He plays Thomas Jane's 14-year-old son, and he's great in it. The performances from top to bottom. But really, I believe the true strength of the film is built on two things. Number one, as I mentioned, Thomas Jane's performance, because he's the central character. It all pivots on him. But number two is the direction. And the direction is so well done. This is a movie that probably should have been on the big screen. Now, granted, it's a very small in scope movie, so maybe that's why it didn't go there. But this is a fantastic film. I've been excited to talk about it ever since I watched it. And on October 20th, when it hits Netflix, guys, give it a shot and then let me know what you guys thought of 1922. I'm just kind of over the moon about it. I mean, not in my top 5 favorite films of the year, but it's a really, really good film that I thoroughly enjoyed. All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic is pretty interesting in the world of Fox X-Men universe films. It's now official. X-Men Dark Phoenix and Deadpool 2 have both wrapped production. They are both done shooting. Now, of course, Deadpool 2 will hit theaters not so long from now. June 1st is when it hits. So what are we here? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 8 months. 8 months till this movie hits the big screen. So it's coming up fast. And, the fact that it's now wrapped production and Dark Phoenix is also wrapped production. That movie doesn't open up until November of 2018. So we've got a little bit longer to wait for that. It's funny. I think it was on yesterday's show, on the John Campea Show. Somebody wrote in and asked, hey, X-Men Dark Phoenix is still shooting. And they've already started shooting Glass. How is James McAvoy doing both? And I explained, well, an actor is not always on set for the entire shoot time. They cram the time that they need him into certain periods. So it's very easy for both of those movies to be shooting at the same time. But I also said, but you know what? I'm pretty sure that movie finishes production soon. And then later that day, they announced that X-Men Dark Phoenix had wrapped production. I am so excited about Deadpool 2, not just because of how good Deadpool 1 is, although that's probably the main reason, or how perfect Ryan Reynolds has fit this role. I'm also very excited that, John Wick director, is it David Leitch, is now directing the second one. Don't get me wrong, the first one was directed wonderfully as well, but when you bring the John Wick director over, they're probably going to heighten that action a bit, which I'm very excited about. With Ryan Reynolds there, the humor is still going to be on point. They're going to do everything there. I'm very curious to see what the story is. I'm still not really clear what the story is, but it is exciting to hear about the production wrapping. I will admit, though, it was a little bittersweet hearing about production wrapping, because hearing about the production brought back memories that, a stunt woman died making this movie in a terrible accident. And that's unfortunate. So I'm sure for a lot of the people behind Deadpool 2, it's also a very bittersweet thing. When it comes to X-Men Dark Phoenix, I'm torn. Look, everybody knows I love the X-Men franchise. I mean, X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past. I mean, Logan, obviously. I love the X-Men universe. But X-Men Apocalypse was a disappointment, especially when you consider the fact that they had one of the greatest villains in the X-Men universe, Apocalypse, finally there. And they botched it. I mean, they really dropped the ball. And I am still really not sure what I think about this new younger cast. And when I say younger cast, I don't mean James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. I mean the kids. I'm not quite sure what I feel about that. And you've got Simon Kinberg in there, who I'm a big Simon Kinberg fan. You guys hear me talk about Simon Kinberg all the time, but he's never directed a film. And so him stepping in to do this makes me a little bit nervous. Like, it's just, I don't know if this is the right project for Kinberg to direct, on top of the fact that I think this movie's being built around characters that were a little bit shaky in X-Men Apocalypse. So I'm a little bit torn on that. However, the main story here is that Deadpool 2 has done shooting. X-Men Dark Phoenix is finished shooting. These films are now in their home stretch, heading to us. And that's word that I made up that I really like to use. It's the tangibilization. Deadpool 2 is really on its way. They finished shooting. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds actually took to social media and he put out the following statement, which I thought was really cute. Ryan Reynolds said the following. He said, "That's a wrap on Deadpool 2, A Song of Fire and Ice." And no, that is not going to be the official title. Thank you to our beloved captain, Mr. David Leitch. Words are too clumsy to properly acknowledge your giant heart and talent. I love my hometown of Vancouver and our obscenely gifted crew. From our production assistants, who are first in and last out, to our set decorators and prop departments, riddling, this is a key part, riddling this film with Easter eggs in almost every scene. Thank you. I already miss being on set, which is why I've decided to continue shooting the film in my underwear from Josh Brolin's well-appointed living room. #maximum effort. So, look, remember when that little Deadpool 2 teaser trailer came out that they played in front of Logan? That teaser trailer was loaded with Easter eggs. And if we are to believe what Ryan Reynolds is saying here, he's saying almost every shot has some kind of Easter egg in it. So you already know this is brilliant for him to say, because on top of the fact that it's fun to have all those Easter eggs in there, you know that losers with nothing better to do with their time, such as myself, are actually going to make sure we buy this movie when it comes out, either on Blu-ray or streaming service or whatever, so we can just spend an entire weekend going frame by frame, trying to make sure we can pick out all the Easter eggs. So very smart marketing move there on Ryan Reynolds' part to get that, to throw that little plug in there. All right. The question is, though, guys, what do you think? Which one out of the two? Because I know the X-Men universe has an awful lot of diehard fans. Which one of these two Fox properties are you looking forward to most? X-Men Dark Phoenix? Because everybody's excited about the Dark Phoenix storyline and see what they can do with it. Or are you more excited for Deadpool 2? I got a feeling it's leaning towards the Deadpool 2, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Jump into the comments and let me know. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump now over to the actual topics and questions that you guys have sent in to me, and we're going to get started with this one. The first question today comes to us from Neomi Wijewardana. Neomi Wijewardana writes, "Hey John, greetings from Melbourne, Australia. I've always wanted to visit Australia. Anyway, I wanted to know, will the recent stories about Harvey Weinstein upset Wind River's Oscar chances? Thanks, and keep up the awesome work." Well, thank you so much for the question, Naomi. Wind River is one of my favorite films of the year. It is in my top 5. I think right now, if I had to write up my top 5, my favorite film of the year is Logan. Wind River is, and then in no particular order, Wind River is in there. Professor Marston and the Wonder Women is in there. The Big Sick is in there. And then 5th, Baby Driver? Maybe Baby Driver? I'm not sure. I'd have to actually sit down and plot it all out. But Wind River is definitely in my top 5. I absolutely adore this film. I believe it should get some Oscar buzz in a number of categories, including screenplays, performances. I think it's the best performance I've ever seen. Almost everybody in this film, whether you're talking about Graham Greene, who's an iconic actor as well, of course. And then you've got the Avenger twins in there as well. The movie is so compelling and so good, and the script is so sharp, and it's well directed and all that kind of stuff. But let's get to the question. The question is, could this whole Harvey Weinstein debacle affect the Oscar chances for Wind River? There could be 2 answers to that. I'll start with this one. It shouldn't. It shouldn't affect it. Harvey Weinstein is not the guy who wrote the film. He's not the guy who directed the film. He doesn't star in the film. He was one of the businessmen behind it. So on that level, I hope the Academy, the Academy should not punish all these really talented people, both in front of and behind the cameras, who made this movie possible and actually made this movie. They're the ones who actually made this movie. Harvey Weinstein is not. But more importantly than that, the other reason why it should not affect it at all is because you can't make the argument that, we'll be putting money in Harvey Weinstein's pockets if we endorse or support this movie. No, you won't. The movie does not belong to Harvey Weinstein. The movie belonged to the Weinstein Company. And the Weinstein Company has fired Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is no longer connected to the Weinstein Company. The Weinstein Company is the ones that own the movie. So yes, while Harvey Weinstein is associated with the movie, I don't think you should punish everybody else who had nothing to do with what that asshole did, had nothing to do with what he did. You shouldn't punish their incredible work of art or them as artists for what that guy did, especially when you consider that he doesn't stand to profit from this anymore. So that's really not a thing. And the Academy has already kicked Harvey Weinstein out. So even if the movie gets nominated for an Academy Award, he can't be there. So I really hope it doesn't. Will it affect it? Well, look, the Academy is made up of close to 7,000 voting members now. There are almost 7,000 voters in the Academy, all from the world of film in one degree or another. They're either directors or producers or agents or studio people or actors or writers and all types of people from the film industry make up the Academy. 7,000 of them, but they're just human. They're all just human beings. So while I hope that the most of them and the majority of them have the common sense to understand, hey, look, Weinstein didn't make this movie and he's not going to benefit from it. So let's not hold anything against this masterful film. But again, they're all just human beings. And a human reaction would be, Harvey Weinstein touched that? I mean, that's a human reaction, right? I just hope that the majority of the Academy voters, who are filled with very smart people, will be able to overcome that initial human reaction to it and realize, hey guys, this isn't the movie's fault. What he did is not the movie's fault. Let's not punish the movie. So I kind of hope they're able to see it that way. And guys, if you have not seen Wind River, treat yourself. Check this movie out. It is one of the best of the year. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but the performances are magnificent. The story's magnificent. Really check it out. I'm thrilled with this movie. I absolutely love it. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Keith Baggs, who writes, I keep hearing people say that Marvel needs to kill someone to make the stakes real, or something to that effect. My question is, why? How many people go into a James Bond movie and are surprised when he survives the adventure? No superhero movie from the 80s or 90s or 2000s was accused of this either. Marvel killed Quicksilver, and at least you got a chance to know him. All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And it's true, I've been seeing this discussion pop up more and more. And really, ever since they announced Avengers Infinity War, like the number one question that always comes up whenever the discussion of Avengers Infinity War arises is, who's going to die? I mean, the same thing happened with Captain America Civil War. Who's going to die in Captain America Civil War? Same thing with Thor Ragnarok. Who's going to die in Thor Ragnarok? It seems like every movie that comes out, everybody wants to discuss which major character is going to die, as if major characters have died in any of the previous films. So, I mean, I don't understand that assumption. But then what we've seen evolve from that as well is the whole notion that Marvel needs to kill off characters in order to make the stakes seem real. I disagree with that. Now, you've heard me mention this example before, but he brought it up in the email. We don't go into James Bond films thinking, oh, they got to kill off James Bond now. If we're going to feel any stakes, they've got to kill off James Bond. No, we never ask that. We never say that. We never go into a Superman movie going, well, they got to kill off Superman this movie. No, they don't. No, they don't. You don't need to kill off Superman. You don't need to kill off any of these characters. You don't need to kill them off. We didn't watch Empire Strikes Back and go, well, I mean, Star Wars was good, but they better kill off Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back, or else there's no Return of the Jedi won't have any stakes. They better kill off Luke, or else Return of the Jedi won't have any stakes. And we never said that. We never said that. I will agree. Now, if you guys who've watched me for any period of time, you've heard me say this, and I still completely believe it. I do agree that to a point, one of the minor things that Marvel suffers from is a sense of a lack of stakes, but that does not come from the fact that they haven't killed off characters, in particular major significant characters in the Avengers. That sense of a lack of stakes comes from, and you've heard me say this before, their constant use of fake killing their characters. Like, it's fine that they don't kill off their characters. It's fine. It's great that they didn't kill off Thor. But you faked kill Thor. You're just like, oh, Thor's dead. Oh, look at the characters crying. Oh, wait a minute. He's not dead. You know, a couple of times they've fake killed Captain America. Oh, Steve's dead now. He went to the river. Oh, well. Oh, wait, he's not dead. They've done it to Loki a number of occasions. Oh, Loki's dead. They've gotten rid of Loki and Loki's died. Oh, wait, Loki's not dead. And Nick Fury in Captain America, Winter Soldier. It was, they killed Nick Fury near the beginning of the film. Third act, Nick Fury's not dead. And they've done that over and over and over again. See, I would make the argument, you may think there's not that big of a difference. I think there is. That I would argue that not killing off characters is not a problem. It's totally fine that they don't kill off characters. You don't need to kill off characters in order to increase a sense of stakes. You don't have to do that. But what you cannot do is constantly go to the well of, oh, let's pretend, let's trick the audience into thinking we killed off this character, and then boom, back that they're not. That is what kills your sense of stakes. That is what undermines your sense of the levity of a situation. Because like everybody else, yes, they finally killed off Quicksilver, a guy who was in 0.6 of a Marvel movie. He was in 1/6, or not 1/6, he was in like 60% of one movie. He wasn't in 3 or 4 movies, but yeah, they killed Quicksilver. But you know why I didn't care when they killed Quicksilver? Because Marvel and the MCU had already conditioned me to not believe it. So I know most of you are probably the same as me. When they killed Quicksilver, we were all just sitting there waiting for him to pop back up on screen, right? Like, I know I was. We were all just sitting there just waiting for, okay, any seconds his eyes are going to open, or it's going to be a post-credit scene where Wanda's sitting sad, thinking about her brother, and it's like, I don't know, like, you didn't think I'd be this slow coming back, did you? That was a terrible Quicksilver accent. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. What? You didn't see it? Yeah, that's the thing. I expected him to pop back on screen in an end credit scene and Wanda going, "You're alive," and then have Aaron Taylor Johnson turn to the screen and go, "What? You didn't see that coming?" Like, seriously, that's what I expected. So I felt nothing when Quicksilver died. And had the MCU not conditioned me to completely not believe when they kill off a character, maybe his death scene would have meant more to me. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. And that's a perfect example of their habit of fake killing their characters has undermined their stakes. Because even when you do kill off a character, I felt nothing because I didn't believe it for a second that he was dead and I was just expecting him to pop back up. So, no, going into Avengers Age of Ultron, I do not believe they need to kill anybody. You don't need to kill Vision. You don't need to kill Hawkeye. You don't need to kill Hulk. You don't need to kill Captain America. You don't need to kill Iron Man. You don't need to kill anybody. You just need to make sure that your story is done right. And if you do kill somebody, fine. Just kill them. Enough with this fake killed bull. If you're going to kill somebody in Avengers Infinity War, then kill them. If not, then don't pretend to kill them. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that is one of the things that have constantly really bothered me a little bit. Hey guys, listen, before I get on to the final email question of the day, I'm going to take my commercial break here for a second, do my little shameless plug for my Patreon page. For those of you guys who've watched me for any period of time, you know that I left the corporate world. I no longer work for corporate overlords. I do this channel on my own full time, and I'm only able to do that because my Patreon supporters, people who appreciate the videos that I put up and like participating in my videos, they said, we want to support you, and that's why I have my Patreon page. Do me a favor, guys, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/John Campea. There's a whole bunch of information there about what being a Patreon supporter means, why it's so necessary for me to have Patreon supporters, and the advantages that come along with being a Patreon supporter. So go check that out, and then if you decide to become a Patreon supporter, if you're somebody who really enjoys my content, awesome, thank you so much. And if not, that's perfectly fine. I'm just glad you're here participating in the videos with us. Okay, with the shameless plug out of the way, let's move on to the final email question of the day before I go over to the live chat board. And the final email question today comes to us from Kyle Carragher, who writes, "Hey John, love the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was just wondering, do you think we will ever see a Monsters Inc. 3? Monsters Inc. is a classic, and Monsters University is highly underrated in my opinion. Would love to hear your thoughts." Well, thanks a lot. And yeah, you know what? I don't think I appreciated just how good the first Monsters Inc. was until I went back and watched it a couple more times. It's a really special movie with some fabulous themes and a great narrative, and I adore that movie. The more I watch it, the more I like that movie. Monsters University, I liked. It's a good movie. I do, though, think it lacked a lot of that specialness that the first one had. And to be honest, I thought they missed an opportunity. I really do. I thought they missed an opportunity with Monsters U. Because what I thought they should have done with Monsters Universe, or with Monster University, is have you hear the two guys, Sully, talking about the story of them going to university, right? Like they're narrating it. And then when you get to the end of the movie, you realize they're talking to a grown-up Boo, as Boo is packing up and getting ready to go off to college. Boom! How is that? That would have been amazing. And I think they really missed an opportunity to do something like that. I thought that would have been so special. Actually, get a close look. Look at the goosebumps on my arms. I'm getting emotional just thinking about how amazing that scene would have been. That, the guys are there and Boo is packing up and she's leaving. It would have been a real Toy Story 3 kind of moment, I think. She's getting ready to go off to college and they're telling her their story of when they went to college. It would have been so great. Anyway, the movie is still very good. It's fun and it's funny, but I do not think we will see a Monsters, Inc. 3. I think, obviously, this one, Monsters University, was not as well received as the first Monsters University. I believe it didn't make as much money. I'll have to double check that, but I don't think it made as much money. I could be wrong. I'll double check that later. But, so for those reasons and I think Pixar just has too much other stuff they want to do. I think they have too many other things they want to do. So, look, let's put it this way. I won't be shocked. I will not be shocked if at some point they announce a Monsters, Inc. 3. There's value in that, so I won't be shocked. I just don't think it's what they're going to do. So I'm gonna guess no. All right, guys. Now, for those of you who are watching live, it is time for me to go to the Twitter board. Once again, if you guys are watching the show live right now, you can just jump on Twitter and tweet to me at John Campea. Make sure you're following me at John Campea as well. Send on in those questions. I'm going to start pulling a bunch of them up now, and we will go with this. And we'll start with the first one. And the first one comes to us from Hen 1996. Hendron writes, John, what great actors of the millennial generation? I'm not really quite sure what it is you're asking in that question. Maybe try sending it again and word it a little differently. Next question. Remember, guys, I'm not screening these. I'm just clicking the next one. Debatitiad141 writes, John, are you pumped to see X-Men Dark Phoenix? And what do you expect from the movie? Keep up the good work. Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, maybe you've just joined us recently, but I don't think I'm really excited for it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's an X-Men movie. I'm going to be there opening day, but I have some fears and I have some worries. I'm not sold on this new young kid cast. And again, I'm not talking about McAvoy and Fassbender. I'm talking about the kids. I'm not sold on them yet. I did not like what they brought to the table in X-Men Apocalypse. We're coming off a weak film in X-Men Apocalypse. We've got a guy making his directorial debut in Simon Kinberg, and I love Simon Kinberg, but he's never directed anything before. And to start off with a big blockbuster, huge budget film, I think is risky. So honestly, I have my doubts. I have my doubts and my fears about the X-Men Dark Phoenix thing. But hey, let's check it out and let's see how it turns out. But I am, obviously, just because it's an X-Men movie, I'm going to be there opening day. All right, let's take this next one. This next one comes from Chudy, who writes, John, why does Netflix claim series like Star Trek Discovery or MTV Scream as Netflix original when they are other companies' properties? Well, I mean, it all depends on where you're at. Like, for instance, I know Star Trek Discovery, there are a lot of countries do not have CBS All Access. And so in those countries, they are Netflix originals. Like, quite often when Hulu says a Hulu original, or when Netflix says a Netflix original, or Amazon says an Amazon original, most of the time it's not Netflix that's actually producing the movies, or they're not actually the production company. Same with Hulu. Sometimes they are not. But what they are is that, like, depending on the country you're in, like in Germany, where they don't have CBS All Access, I'm pretty sure they don't. Anyway, then Star Trek Discovery is a Netflix show. It is a Netflix original in Germany. So what they're saying is true from a certain point of view. They're not the ones who made it, but you cannot watch Star Trek Discovery in many countries anywhere else other than Netflix. Therefore, in those countries, it is a Netflix original. Same with Hulu. Same with Amazon. Same with Crackle. Same with a lot of these new streaming services and things like that. Quite often, the shows will get made and then they'll get sold to, say, Netflix. And Netflix, okay, now it's our show. It is a Netflix original series. Boom. So that's why they're able to do that. All right, let's see. Next one. And the next question comes to us from Jordan Solis, who writes, John, do you think Gambit will be in an X-Men movie prior to his own movie release? I'm going to say no, because, they just announced they've got everything going now with Gambit. They've got a director in Gore Verbinski. They've got a release date now in 2000, I believe it's 2019. Anyway, I can't remember. Yeah, I believe it's early 2019. Anyway, and, Deadpool is now wrapped shooting. X-Men Dark Phoenix is now wrapped shooting. So within the next few months, Channing Tatum is going to have to be on board with Gambit, and they're going to have to get the whole Gambit production up and going. I don't know that there are other films. He's not going to be in New Mutants, obviously. So no, I do not think anything is possible, but I do not think you're going to see, the timing just doesn't seem to work. So I don't think we're going to see Gambit pop up in any other X-Men movie before we see the Gambit film. After the Gambit film, yeah, I think we'll probably see him pop up all over the place. Let's see. I already did one question from Han. We'll go on. That one is also from Han. We'll go on to this one. This one comes from Lucian Thoney 65A writes, John, what do you think of Coco having screenings a month and a half prior to its release? Are Disney and Pixar too overly confident? Disney and Pixar are never overly confident. If they know their movie's good, their track record is spotless when it comes to, if they believe their movie is awesome and people are going to love it, and they put it out early for critics and people to see, they've always been 100% correct. They're not overconfident. As a matter of fact, I think you need to, because as I've been talking, I've mentioned in the last couple of shows that Coco is going to face a problem when it comes to the box office. The movie might be spectacular, but I do have some concerns that there are going to be a bunch of parents out there that don't want to take their kids to a movie about the land of the dead. I think there's going to be a lot of parents out there that kind of maybe reconsider or don't want to or hesitant to take their kids to that. So that could result in a box office problem. So if Disney and Pixar are very confident in Coco and they believe they've got a great movie, then they're going to have to do everything they can to combat that problem. So get it out there early. Get the word of mouth out as early as possible. Get the buzz going as early as possible. Make sure parents hear, hey guys, this is a great movie. Your kids will love it. And don't worry, it's not too heavy or anything like that. So no, I don't think this is an issue of Disney being overconfident whatsoever. All right, let's go on to the next question. And the next question comes from Renix8, who writes, John, who do you think is more likely to win an Oscar for a performance in a Star Wars movie? Daisy Ridley or John Boyega? I'd say Boyega. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go Daisy Ridley. I really like John Boyega. However, I've had the chance now to see Ridley Scott in a couple of different things. I believe there's a couple of reasons why I'm going to say Daisy Ridley. Number one, Daisy Ridley, I believe, is a slightly better actor. I like John Boyega. That is not a knock on John Boyega. I'm a big John Boyega fan. But I've now had a chance to see Daisy in a couple of things, and I do believe, weighing her body of work against John Boyega's body of work at this point, I believe she's the more talented performer. But on top of that, Star Wars is really more focused on her. She is the new Star Wars. She's the main character. You can make the argument that that Rey is the main character of the new Star Wars trilogy. Now, we'll have to see Star Wars Last Jedi to really know that for certain. Maybe she's not in the movie all that much for all we know. Maybe she's just in the trailer a bunch. Who knows? But for those two reasons, number one, I think Star Wars is more focused on her. Number two, I believe Daisy Ridley is a little bit more of the talented actress. So I'm going to go with Daisy Ridley on that. Not that I think either of them will win an Academy Award for Star Wars, but if it was going to be one or the other, that's how I kind of see it going. Okay, let's see. This one comes to us from Stig100900 writes, John, will we ever get to see another American Pie movie? Not in theaters. They already ditched going to theaters. The last couple of ones that they did were already relegated to straight-to-home video and things like that. And yeah, maybe we'll see more straight-to-home videos. But unless we're talking about 15 years from now and them doing a reboot of some sort, no, I don't think we're going to see any more American Pie movies. That franchise died. And it kind of died a slow, whimpering death. It started out strong, didn't end so strong. Let's see. Let's go with Amin Red writes, John, when do you think we will see the Rampage trailer? Rock and Action make a great pair. Rock and Action do make a great pair. Honestly, right now, I have no idea. I heard a while ago that they finished production. I can't even remember off the top of my head when the movie's supposed to come out. So at this point, I'm not really sure. I'll certainly keep my eyes open for it. Let's see. Next one comes to us from JDog88. And JDog88 writes, besides Mystery Men, what is your dream sequel? Yeah, I really want a Mystery Men sequel. A lot. Aside from that, one of my biggest guilty pleasure movies of all time, Megaforce. Life is like a wheel. It all comes around. 90% of you have no idea what movie I'm talking about. Look it up. The main character's name is Ace. Megaforce. It was G.I. Joe on the movie screen before G.I. Joe was on the movie screen. Okay, let's go to this one. This one comes to us from Mikey7382, who writes, John, if Justice League and Aquaman are big hits with both critics and box office, what movie do you think DC will announce next? Who knows? No idea. No idea. I think they already know what it's going to be, and I think we just don't know. So, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter at this point. Already asked that one. Debaditia141 writes, John, should Warner Brothers shift Wonder Woman 2 to November 2019 so it does not clash with Star Wars Episode 9? Oh, they're going to move. You bet your ass that Warner Brothers is going to move Wonder Woman. You need to. Any movie would need to. You can't. Star Wars is the box office freight train. And so, yes, you will see them move release dates. It's the smart thing to do. Warner Brothers could be stupid and go, no, we're going to stay where we are. But no, Warner Brothers is too smart. They're all about the success of their own movie, and their movie has a better chance for success if they move Wonder Woman. And they're going to do what gives their movie the best chance for success, and that's what they're going to do. They have to do that. Let's see. Next one comes from that Keith O'Neill writes, John, who gets final edits for Justice League? Snyder, Whedon, someone else, Warner Brothers? Okay, be very clear about this. Zack Snyder is not associated with Justice League in any way, shape, or form anymore. He has no say in the movie anymore. Now, the movie we're going to get, you're going to see a lot of Snyder in there, absolutely. But he is not connected to this movie in any way, shape, or form anymore. He's removed from it. I also don't think Joss Whedon... I think Joss Whedon is going to get the soft final edit, in the sense that they're going to let him do it. But really, ultimately, Warner Brothers has too much riding on this. Warner Brothers is going to have the true final edit. I think they trust Joss Whedon. That's why they put him in there. And I believe Whedon's going to turn in his cut. But ultimately, Warner Brothers isn't giving him final cut in the sense that, okay, Joss, you do your cut, and no matter what it is, no matter what we think about it, you get to keep it the way you think it should be. No. I think they're letting Joss Whedon do his cut, and then Warner Brothers will have the final say about if there's anything they want changed, or if it's anything that they don't like, or if they like it. And say, yes, keep it just the way it is. When it comes down to it, Warner Brothers has too much writing on this. They're not going to give final cut authority to anybody but themselves. Let's see. Let me reload here and get some new ones here. This one comes to us from John Brown 95, who writes, John, do you rate Mark Strong? Time for an action franchise? I don't know. Mark Strong is a ridiculously talented actor, but he's been making a very good living off being a supporting or villainous character in a lot of franchises. He was great in his Sherlock Holmes movie. I thought he was really great as Sinestro in Green Lantern, even though the movie was not so good. And even though I hated that end credits scene with him going, I'm a good guy. Oh, wait, I'm a bad guy now. I want that yellow ring. Ha, 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 ha. Like, that was the worst post-credit scene of all time. Obviously, he's been a great character in Kingsman. I don't see him being given his own action film. To be honest with you. And I might be wrong about this. Let me pull up. I'm not quite sure how old Mark Strong is. Yeah, he's 54. I don't think 54 is the time to start a new action franchise with a guy who hasn't been an action star up to this point. So no, I'm going to say probably not. Okay, let's go with Micah Harshaw, who writes, John, what's a non-comic book movie you're looking forward to in 2018? I'd have to sit down and actually look at the list. I'm sure there are many, but off the top of my head, I'd have to sit down and look that up. Maybe we should do a video about that. The non-comic book and non-Star Wars films that I'm really looking forward to in 2018. I think I'm going to make a video about that. Keep your eyes open. Thanks for the idea, Micah. And last question today. Movies Mega writes, John, could a Chucky film ever be in theaters again? God, I hope not. That franchise is dead. That franchise jumped the shark. No interest in seeing another Chucky movie. It's dead and gone. I still treasure the first one, but no, you're never going to see it in theaters again. It's almost impossible. Not impossible, but almost impossible. Once your franchise has fallen off the big screen and gets relegated to your new installments come out as direct-to-home video, it's tough to turn around and come back from that. And the Chucky series hasn't even had that much success in VOD. So there's really nothing that would make any real studio look at it and go, oh yeah, let's invest $40 million and bring a big screen version of Chucky back. I'm not trying to insult anybody who is a fan of Chucky. If you love it, that's awesome. But the results do speak for themselves. And I don't think there's any real studio out there that's going to say, yeah, let's invest 40, 50, 60 million dollars in making a movie and marketing a movie and distributing it and getting it out to theaters. I don't think anybody thinks they could honestly make their money back on that. So I don't think that's going to happen. All right, guys, that will do it for me for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday. Listen, don't forget, if you like this programming, make sure you click the thumbs up button, leave a comment, and remember, we're all on the same team. We're all movie fans together. So debate, discuss, argue, disagree, all that kind of stuff, but make sure you're doing it in such a way that it's clear that we're all on the same side here. We just have different opinions, which is awesome. Make sure you guys click the subscribe button, become subscribed to my YouTube channel, follow me on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter, simply at John Campea. Anyway, that will do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.